What's going on YouTube, and welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And if you're watching this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. So, Scream 5, Gail's Potential Death. I did one on Sidney, I did one on Dewey, and you guys seem to really enjoy those videos. I will link them down in the description, so if you haven't seen them, you can go check them out after this video. But had a ton of engagement, ton of great discussions with you guys, whether you agreed with me, disagreed with me. And that's why I do this, is to have discussions, conversations, debates, whether you think I'm right or wrong. You know, the comments that are like, you're an idiot, I ignore. So whether you think I'm an idiot or not, phrase that a different way and we can have a discussion and a conversation. But whether you agree with it or not, it seems more and more likely, based on the information that we have, that the franchisees of Scream now want to move away from the OG3. They just want to take it in a different direction. They've even said that the cast that they have in this is going to be more of a focus. They even have their sort of Sidney replacement in this film, and it just makes a lot of sense. Like I said in the previous video with Dewey, that, you know, I think maybe not killing all of them at once is probably the best move. I mean, Sidney is the sort of became Scream. So I think her death, in this film, especially like before the others, would be very upsetting to a lot of people. Dewey, although I think he makes a great case for why he could die, I should say, I think that Gail is probably the most likely of them all, because Dewey is just so beloved by many. I mean, when Randy died, people lost their minds, literally. So I feel that would sort of be the same way and might affect people in the same way as Sid if Dewey died, if maybe even more, because he just has such a huge following. And I feel like Gail makes a lot of sense. I think people can understand it. I think because she is so sort of bullheaded and just goes into the line of fire, because she's a reporter and she still has that reporting mentality, she wants to, jump into the fire. And she's basically helped save and solve every scenario in all the other Screams. Where Dewey, I said, made a lot of sense in that regard because he's the sheriff. He's sort of forced to go into these, extremities. And where Gail, she just does it on her own fruition. I mean, Dewey's always like, stay away, don't do that. And she's, boom, the first one there. So I think it just makes a lot of sense as to why you could place her in a situation to where she could get killed. Not just that, but I think because of what happened in Scream 4, you're going to sort of get a Sidney from Scream 3 in the sense of her isolating herself and go away, because she tried to, get out there. She tried to, do her book and, integrate herself back into society. And again, she met the same sort of fate of, somebody close to her out to get her and everyone around her, and everyone around her died. So I could easily see her just kind of going back in a seclusion, and that means that something drastic needs to happen in order to draw her out. And I don't think, a bunch of people getting slashed up in Woodsboro is going to be enough for her to get drawn out. So somebody like Gail dying, that's a big enough draw for her where she's like, I have to come. Plus the way it would affect Dewey and how broken and sort of the character he could become because of, Gail's death, and what it would do to Sidney, because, whether they're best of friends or not, it always seems like they're sort of awkward around each other. They're still forever bonded due to what they've endured during, this time period of these films. So I think that would be a big enough play to get Gail out. Another sort of theory and idea is Judy Hicks, because in Scream 4, she seemed overly sort of obsessed with Dewey and really clashed with Gail a lot. And a lot of people, whether you know or not, Scream 3 was supposed to be a cult-like video. And there is supposed leaks that there could be as many as 6 killers in this film, which would kind of make sense because they always wanted to do what they were supposed to do in Scream 3 until the writers and director got changed, and then boom, it became something else. But originally, there was supposed to be a sort of cult of Ghostface and multiple killers. And I think that would sort of explain, one, Judy's sort of obsession with Sidney and Dewey and why she sort of despises Gale. It sort of would make a great story, and it would make such a great surprise at the end if she was sort of like the ringleader in a way. And it would be sort of original and unique. And the fact that she is a deputy would make it very easy to draw Gale out, and would make it very easy to sort of manipulate behind the scenes and sort of cover stuff up. As well as, if Gale died, she could get really close to Dewey as sort of, the crying shoulder, let's go and, have this discussion. So I think that would really be a great story that a lot of us can get behind of, obviously there's other killers, and because there's other killers, you don't really suspect Judy Hicks, but at the end, boom, here she is the killer. She's the one that drew out Gale. She was the one that sort of manipulated behind the scenes. Maybe she realizes that Dewey isn't going to, be hers in a way or whatever, or maybe he finds out, so she's forced to kill him, and that's how they kind of move off of everyone but Sid. They have their epic battle, and boom, but at the same time, they're, making the other character sort of the focal point, which is what they've kind of said in this film, that's going to be the main focus, and that the OG3 will kind of be, integrated into that mix. But I just think that just adds a whole new level and a whole new layer, and it makes it, and I just think that at some point we have to move off the OG3. Whether you want to or not. Believe me, I don't want to. I mean, that was my childhood. That was, I grew up with Scream. I'm 30 now. So I literally grew up watching Scream. Sidney and Randy and Dewey and Stu and Gale, and just it all. I don't want to lose that. But if they're going to continue to make films, it's just realistic that they're going to move off of them at some point. And Scream has always maintained a form of realism, which is why I enjoy it so much. It's not, a Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger type character. No, it's just some crazies that are just going around hacking up all their friends. I mean, we see that kind of stuff on the news all the time. So to keep the OG3 in the films, I mean, how long are they going to want to keep making these movies? And let's say they do. They're getting older. Is it realistic to think that, somebody in their, 50s, say we get to Scream 7, 8, 9, somebody, in their 50s who's had all of these injuries and all of this just trauma and craziness happen in their lives, are going to be able to take on multiple, mid-20s to 30-year-olds? I mean, they've always kept a form of realism. And I personally don't want to see the OG3 because they're, let's say they don't want to do any more films, or they just say, let's move off of it, but because nobody wants them to die, they don't kill them. Like, I would hate to go see, whatever, Scream 7, Scream 8, and Sidney is killed off camera because Nev doesn't want to do the films anymore, and she dies of like cancer or a car accident. Like that to me, that doesn't do us justice as a fan base, and it doesn't do the character justice. Like, she survived all these killers. She went to war. She's a fighter. She did all this stuff to die of old age, to die of cancer, to die of, a car accident. I just feel like that there's better ways to go about it, where, if you have her sort of be the hero that we want her to be, and she, dies saving everybody, boom, that is a great story to tell. And, I just think that I just think it makes a lot of sense that eventually they're going to have to move off of it. Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. Like I said, open discussion. But I also wanted to do a video on Hicks and sort of, do its own standalone video. But I just felt like her and Gail and that sort of storyline tie together so perfectly. And I was thinking about it, and I just thought, if I do a Hicks video, I feel like it's just going to be a reiteration of this video. And I want to keep it fresh. I want to keep it new. And I just felt like that sort of story plot and idea would just be perfect. So, but let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Share this with a friend if you love this theory or idea, because I personally think it is a great one. But I mean, I came up with it, so maybe that's just me. But I really thought it through, and I was like, this is a great idea. But anyway, again, join the discussion down in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Like this video. I appreciate it very much. Helps me out a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one.